How about...
Also very, very sad, and I hope that someone who has the clout to do something about this hears this, is that they're allowed every year to set up booths at the ETS conference and proselytize hyper-preterism. I believe one of them was even allowed to speak one year, but I'm not positive on that.
How about...
But I know every year they set up booths and hand out all their literature. And, you know, some people may say, oh, you know, no big deal. But what happens is these people, the heresy does something to twist people's characters, because I believe most of these people, before they became hyper-preterists, were decent people. But when you start to embrace heresy, it can turn a lot of people into being very sneaky and manipulative. So what will happen, ETS lets them set up a booth. Then they will trumpet that fact for the whole following year to lead the insinuation that ETS endorses them. They use any possible way to cloak themselves with the approval of orthodoxy.
How about John Noe, who I've seen on the Larry King show? Is he like a big player, or is he just an insignificant writer and contributor to this?
John Noe used to be. I don't know where John Noe currently stands. I don't know if you're aware. At one time, Todd Dennis would have been one of the big players, but he has since renounced hyper-preterism.
Oh, really?
Yes, and he's the owner of the Preterist Archive. He now holds to something known as preterist idealism, and from what I understand, though I'm not entirely clear on everything that they believe, and I know Todd's still working out a lot of things in his own head, and I can't blame him. He's been involved in hyper-preterism for years. But from what I understand, and I beg Todd to correct me if I am wrong, he does believe in a future return of Christ now and a future bodily resurrection. And if I'm wrong about that, I welcome correction. To relate that to John Noe, I'm sorry. John Noe, I believe, now identifies himself as a preterist idealist. Because I'm still a little bit uncertain as to exactly what that means, I left him off. He no longer considers himself a full preterist, let's put it that way.
Oh, really?
No, he's definitely on the side with Todd Dennis.
Okay. How about John Bray? Are you familiar with John?
Oh, yes. Now, I don't want to be insensitive, but I thought Mr. Bray had passed away.
Oh, maybe he did. I know that he was elderly when I met him.
Elderly. I had spoken with him on the phone during my struggles, and because he is also in Florida. And at that time, I thought he was in his 80s.
Yes, he was.
And I used to get mailings from his group, and I haven't gotten one in a long time. If he hasn't passed away, I apologize. But
yes.
I had thought he had passed away.
Well, he was very elderly when I met him 15 years ago, and what a very nice man, and he was at one time an Orthodox preterist, but I know that he adopted the full preterist view, and I don't know if he ever left that, but... he had fought it for a while, but then finally succumbed to his hyper-preterist friends and adopted their view. But perhaps he may have passed away. John, if you're out there listening, give us a call. Let us know if you're okay.
Yeah. I really hate to, not to say that, and it's not true. That's terrible.
Well, I'm sure he wouldn't be insulted. He must have been at least in his late 70s when I met him 15 years ago. So, if you could, Dee Dee, give our listeners your contact information.
Sure. I can be reached at, let me just give, I've got like 15 email addresses, so let me just give one. It's easiest to remember. It would be preteristsite@gmail.com.
Preterist site, that's PRETERISTSITE?
At gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Dee Dee Warren, which is DeeDeeWarren.
Great, and you can also go to the sharpens.org site, SHARPENS.org. That's the Iron Sharpens Iron website. Either later this evening or tomorrow, you should have all of Dee Dee's websites posted there right near the MP3 of today's broadcast. It was a great pleasure to have you on the program today, Dee Dee, and I look forward to having you back.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Chris. The pleasure is all mine.